On a sunny afternoon in Los Angeles, Melania Trump decided to spend some time shopping at LA Galleria, a luxurious shopping mall renowned for its exclusivity and high-end stores. The elegant ambience and impeccable attention to detail had made it a go-to destination for celebrities, influencers, and CEOs alike. Melania, always poised and graceful, was no stranger to such a setting. Walking through the grand glass doors, Melania turned heads, not just because of her undeniable presence, but due to the bright red MAGA hat she wore effortlessly. It was not meant to provoke, but simply to express herself. A polite concierge greeted her warmly and escorted her to the VIP lounge area. The mall hummed softly with the sound of footsteps and hushed conversations as Melania browsed through her plans for the day, unaware of the quiet glances and murmurs around her. The calm atmosphere shifted when the mall manager, a sharply dressed man in his 40s, approached her. Loud enough for others to overhear, he said, "Excuse me, ma'am, we have a policy against political apparel in this establishment. I'll kindly ask you to remove the hat." Surprised but composed, Melania raised her head, her tone serene. "I wasn't aware of such a policy," she replied. The manager, with a measured but firm tone, responded, "It's part of our code of conduct. We strive to maintain a neutral environment for all our patrons." Melania's gaze swept across the room, noting the sideways glances from a few shoppers. "I'm here to enjoy my afternoon, not to cause trouble," she said calmly. The manager's tone grew more insistent. "If you don't comply, I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to leave." Without hesitation, Melania rose from her seat, her composure unshaken. "If that's your decision, I'll respect it," she said. Gathering her belongings, she walked toward the exit, her steps graceful and deliberate. As she left, the soft chime of the automatic doors marked her departure, leaving an awkward silence in her wake. Outside, Melania paused to adjust her hat, taking a moment to let the warm California breeze wash over her. She wasn't angry but felt disheartened. Her upbringing, rooted in values of kindness and understanding, made the encounter all the more perplexing. Back inside, quiet murmurs filled the air. A boutique clerk leaned toward the manager and whispered, "Do you think that was wise?" That was her. The manager, brushing off the comment, replied, "We have to uphold our rules. If we start making exceptions, where does it end? This is my mall, and I'll manage it as I see fit." Melania strolled a few blocks to a nearby cafe, found a quiet corner, and began typing on her phone. First, she messaged her family to share what had happened, then reached out to close friends. She wasn't seeking sympathy, only clarity. The responses came swiftly. "That's ridiculous. They shouldn't have treated you like that," one friend wrote. "You handled it with so much grace," another added. As Melania reflected on the incident, an idea began to take shape. She wasn't interested in retribution, but saw an opportunity to foster understanding and dialogue. With quiet determination, she made a few calls. Her voice was calm, yet resolute. "I need your advice on something important." Meanwhile, word of the event spread online. Shoppers posted blurry photos and first-hand accounts. "Melania Trump asked to leave for wearing a hat," one caption read. Another added, "Freedom of expression? Not at LA Galleria." The mall manager, scrolling through his phone in his office, began to feel uneasy as the backlash grew. The comment sections were buzzing, and the opinions were mixed at best. "Let them talk," he muttered under his breath. But a lingering sense of regret crept in. He couldn't shake the feeling that this situation might soon spiral beyond his control. By the time Melania Trump returned home, the incident at LA Galleria had already gained traction online. Local influencers had shared the story, their captions ranging from sympathetic to divisive. Melania briefly skimmed through the posts but refused to get entangled in the noise. She wasn't interested in perpetuating drama or division. Instead, her thoughts turned toward transforming the negativity into a force for good. Sitting by a window with a notebook in hand, Melania reflected on the day. It wasn't just the manager's words that lingered in her mind, but also the quiet judgments and curious glances of onlookers. Rather than feeling bitter, she felt motivated to create a solution that encouraged unity over conflict. Almost instinctively, an idea took form: a community fundraiser. Not just any fundraiser, but one centered on bridging divides. Picking up her phone, she made a call. "Hello, this is Melania Trump. I'd like to organize a charity event, and I need your advice. Can we meet tomorrow? It's important." The person on the other end, surprised but intrigued, agreed without hesitation. As the night unfolded, Melania's vision began to crystallize. She decided to hold the fundraiser at the plaza just outside LA Galleria, a symbolic choice to show that harmony can emerge even in places of tension. A close friend offered logistical support, and soon the event planning was in full swing. Meanwhile, at the shopping mall, the fallout was brewing. What began as a routine enforcement of policy had spiraled into a public debate. News outlets were picking up the story, quoting eyewitnesses and analyzing the event. Some articles framed Melania as a victim of intolerance, while others defended the mall's right to enforce its rules. Social media was buzzing with mixed opinions. So much for neutrality. Kicking someone out for a hat isn't neutral. It's taking a side, one comment read. The tension rippled through the mall staff. Foot traffic dwindled as customers canceled visits, and the once vibrant shopping center grew noticeably quieter. The manager, who initially stood by the decision, began to feel a creeping sense of doubt. "It'll pass," he muttered to himself, but the unease in his voice betrayed him. The following morning, the plaza outside LA Galleria transformed into a hub of activity. Trucks unloaded equipment as volunteers erected tents, tables, and a stage. At the center of it all stood Melania, poised and hands-on. Above the showroom, a large banner read, "Melania had partnered with organizations dedicated to community building, youth mentorship, and fostering constructive dialogue." The fundraiser aimed not just to gather donations, but to create an inclusive space where diverse voices could connect. Food stalls, live music, and interactive booths lined the plaza, turning a spot of contention into one of celebration. By midday, a diverse crowd had gathered, families, professionals, activists, and even a few influencers curious to see Melania's response. Taking the stage, she addressed the audience with a calm but impassioned tone. "Yesterday, I was asked to leave this space because of a hat. That's okay, I respect their rules even if I don't agree with them. But the experience left me thinking about something deeper." She paused, looking out at the crowd. "We're so quick to judge, to choose sides, to shut down conversations. But that's not who we truly are. We're capable of so much more, of listening, understanding, and finding common ground." The crowd applauded as Melania continued, "This event isn't about me, and it's not about yesterday. It's about us, about how we can build connections and foster unity. Every dollar we raise today will go toward programs that promote dialogue and inclusivity. Thank you for showing that we are stronger together." As the applause swelled, Melania stepped off the stage, taking time to shake hands and personally thank attendees. Her sincerity and thoughtful words left a lasting impression. Many came out of curiosity, but left feeling inspired by her ability to transform a moment of conflict into a powerful message of hope. Inside LA Galleria, the atmosphere was starkly different. The mall manager stood by a second-floor balcony, watching the event unfold in the plaza below. He hadn't anticipated Melania Trump's response, and it left him deeply conflicted. Some staff members had ventured outside, drawn by the lively music and the palpable sense of community. One sales associate, who had been present during the previous day's incident, glanced back at the manager and quietly said, "Maybe we got it wrong." The manager didn't reply. His gaze remained fixed on the growing crowd below. The energy outside, filled with unity and purpose, was a sharp contrast to the subdued tension inside the mall. For the first time, he began to question if the principles he believed he was upholding had come at a cost far greater than he realized. The day before, a young staff member had approached the manager and quietly suggested, "Maybe you should go out there, talk to her." The manager had stiffened, dismissive. "This isn't my issue." "Maybe not," the associate replied, "but it could be your opportunity to make things right." The words lingered in the manager's mind. Now, as he sipped a glass of water and watched the crowd grow outside, something shifted within him. The vibrant energy of the event tugged at emotions he hadn't allowed himself to confront. The fundraiser outside LA Galleria quickly became the focal point of the community. Social media platforms buzzed with live streams, photos, and hashtags like "Building Bridges" and #United We Stand, celebrating Melania Trump's grace and the powerful message of inclusivity she was championing. It wasn't just locals who noticed. Media crews arrived to capture the vibrant energy of the event in Melania's heartfelt words. The plaza was filled with families, students, and professionals, united in a way that felt rare and meaningful. Inside the mall, however, the scene was markedly different. Stores that typically buzzed with activity were quiet. Sales associates, usually busy with customers, peered out of the windows at the event below, their curiosity and admiration evident. A boutique clerk cautiously approached the manager. "Customers have been asking about the event," she said softly. "They're saying it looks incredible. Maybe we should go down there." The manager's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Instead, he retreated to his office, closing the door behind him. Sitting heavily at his desk, he opened his email inbox, only to be greeted by dozens of messages. They were complaints from regular shoppers, canceled reservations for the mall's VIP services, and harsh critiques from local opinion pieces. One email stood out. It was from a longtime shopper who had always supported the mall. The message read, "I've always loved LA Galleria, but yesterday's incident was profoundly disappointing. Excluding someone for their personal expression isn't the neutrality you claim to uphold. It's divisive. I hope you'll take steps to make this right." The words hit harder than he anticipated. Leaning back in his chair, he ran a hand through his hair, frustration and doubt swirling in his mind. Had he made the right call? Was his decision truly about neutrality, or was it rooted in something else? Something he hadn't been willing to admit. The lively scene outside, full of hope and collaboration, made the silence in his office all the more deafening. Meanwhile, the fundraiser outside LA Galleria reached its peak. A local jazz band played lively tunes, children painted colorful murals at an art booth, and donation boxes overflowed with contributions. Melania was everywhere, greeting attendees, listening to their stories, and even pausing for photos. She exuded calm confidence, not performative but authentic, the kind of poise that comes from knowing you're making a meaningful impact. As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden hue over the plaza, a ripple of excitement spread through the crowd. People turned toward the mall's main entrance, where the manager had just emerged. He hesitated briefly, adjusting his tie nervously before stepping onto the plaza and making his way toward Melania. The crowd parted slightly, their chatter subsiding as they watched the two approach each other. Melania noticed him and offered a polite, welcoming smile. She didn't hesitate or step back, but extended her hand as he reached her. "I'd like to talk," the manager said, his voice quiet and almost drowned out by the bustling energy around them. "Of course," Melania replied, gesturing toward a quieter area near the edge of the plaza. The two walked together, the crowd observing respectfully but curiously. They stopped at a quieter corner of the event, where the lively music and conversations were more distant, allowing for a private exchange. The manager, usually confident and composed, now appeared uncertain. He glanced back at the vibrant crowd before turning to Melania. "I need to start by saying I didn't handle yesterday well," he admitted, his voice low but sincere. "I thought I was doing what was best for the mall and its staff. But I realize now that I made a mistake. I judged you unfairly, and I acted out of fear, not reason." Melania listened attentively, her expression composed but encouraging. "It takes courage to acknowledge your mistakes," she said after a brief pause. "Thank you for saying that." The manager let out a deep breath, as if releasing a weight he had carried. "Watching what you've done here today, it's humbling," he continued. "You could have responded with anger or tried to retaliate against the mall. Instead, you turned it into something positive, something inspiring. That's not what most people would do." Melania smiled gently. "The world doesn't need more division or hostility," she replied. "What happened yesterday could have added to the negativity, but I wanted to show there's a better way forward." The manager nodded slowly, visibly moved by her words. "You did, and I'd like to be part of that. If there's any way for me or the mall to support this initiative, I'd be more than happy to contribute." Melania paused thoughtfully before responding. "The best way to contribute," she said, "is to reflect on how we treat one another. Policies are important, but they should never come at the expense of respect or understanding." The manager nodded again, taking in her words. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for your grace and for showing me what leadership truly looks like." Melania extended her hand once more, and as they shook hands, the crowd erupted into applause. The moment felt like the culmination of the day's message, a testament to the power of humility, dialogue, and the courage to seek unity over division. "Policies are important," Melania said, "but they should never come at the expense of kindness and understanding." Perhaps LA Galleria could host an event like this one, something that fosters connection instead of division. The manager blinked, clearly taken aback by the suggestion. For a moment, he stood silent, but then a small, genuine smile spread across his face. I think that's a wonderful idea. Let's make it happen. They shook hands again, this time with warmth and mutual respect. The crowd, sensing the resolution, erupted into applause. It wasn't the polite, obligatory clapping often heard at public events. It was heartfelt, a testament to the significance of the moment. As the event wound down, Melania took the stage one last time to address the attendees. She looked out over the diverse and energized crowd, her voice calm yet powerful. "We all make mistakes," she began. "What truly matters is how we choose to grow from them." Today wasn't just about raising money. It was about showing that even when we disagree, we can still come together. Thank you for proving that unity isn't just possible. It's essential. The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices ringing out with hope and optimism, filling the plaza with energy and connection. As the sun dipped below the Los Angeles skyline, Melania stood with her friends and supporters, watching the last attendees leave the plaza. They carried with them not just memories of the event, but the powerful message it embodied, that even in the face of disagreement or division, there's always an opportunity to connect, reflect, and find common ground. This story is a poignant reminder that conflicts, no matter how big or small, don't have to end in resentment or division. By choosing grace, empathy, and proactive solutions, we can transform challenging moments into opportunities for growth, understanding, and unity. Thank you for watching and being part of this journey of transformation and unity. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more inspiring content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Together, let's continue exploring stories that remind us of the power of connection and growth. See you in the next video.